group out there today, so that's awesome. Let's go ahead and get started. Miss Debbie, will you do the invocation and the flag salute, please?
Lord, thank you for this opportunity of us gathering together. Please help us make the decisions that you would like us to make to improve our community and help everyone succeed in our community. Please be with those that are suffering from any financial or emotional stress at this time, and just lead us in the right direction. In your name we pray. Amen.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I'll remind the trustees to make sure to turn on your mic and talk into your microphone, please. All right, let's start with the roll call.
Trustee Patel is absent. Trustee Reed?
Present.
Trustee Scherer?
Here.
Trustee Thorpe?
Here.
Vice Chairman Anthony?
Here.
Chairman Hunt?
Here.
And I am present as well.
You have to leave it on.
Nobody wants to hear my comments.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, so let's go to our first order of business, approval of minutes, June 25th, 2024, regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion we accept the minutes as read.
We've got the first. Anybody here for the second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, thank you. Any questions? All approval, say aye. No?
Have to call roll call.
Have to call roll call again.
Oh, yeah, we have to do that one
Yes.
My
Trustee
bad.
Scherer? Sir? Trustee Scherer?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? Trustee Anthony?
Yes.
Chairman Hunt?
here. Yes.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
And I also vote yes.
Okay, let's move to review of financial reports. Who is going to provide those to us today?
It's on 4, 5, yeah.
Looks like 4.
4 and 5.
Did everyone get a chance to go through those? Anybody want to talk through it?
You did it.
Review of financial reports. Ms. Grace is coming up.
So there's actually not a whole lot new going on since we just approved our budget, and we just got the new signees on the checks and banking accounts, so we haven't had anything go out in this fiscal year except for one, and you can see that in that new spreadsheet. It was our billboard rent. On page 5 is the 5% revenue, which you can see the whole year now. Everything is calculated for fiscal year 23-24. You can also see that it has dropped, and then it came back up a little bit in May and June.
It's dropped in the last 6 months, hasn't it?
Yes.
Well, we're missing a whole hotel out of the revenue.
Grace, how many hotel rooms are we minus at this point?
I believe Budget Inn had 60.
And the Express Inn was shut down for a while as well, correct?
What'd you say?
The Express Inn.
Yes, Express Inn was also shut down, and they opened up probably May.
And they did not go online until June.
Correct. Their
Okay.
website wasn't even up until June.
Who's this?
Budget in. I'm not budget in.
Express Inn.
That they shut down a little bit, so that was less revenue for those rooms being shut down.
So Budget had 66 rooms, and I believe the Econo Lodge had around 70.
So you're
70.
Talking a little bit more than 100 rooms that were
They have 100, okay.
together. I mean, that we're not getting
Mm-hmm.
revenue from anymore.
And they were open last year,
Yes.
so we're not talking apples to apples.
Right, that's what.
But looking at 23-24 year to date is still an improvement. looking
think
at the
we've-
average than, some of the previous years, so.
I think we really had a stellar year last year, and I think part of that was still ARPA money that was out there. Not so much that companies were looking at places to send, especially corporate, to send representatives, and I think there was a lot more, well, I don't think, I know there was a lot more corporate use during that time. And I've seen that cutting back as well in this last year.
Well, you have a 1,000-unit, Choctaw, and it's come online too. So during the weekends,
Yeah.
if it slows down, we don't get filled up. You could be filled up about 2 days beforehand. Now you do good.
We've been busy all summer. I'm about a 90% occupancy this month.
They got ample enough rooms now. They have ample enough rooms now.
Yeah, but Jim, that opened up last year.
You what?
That was in last physical year.
Oh, Choctaw.
The Grand opened back up. So they were operational last year.
Talking about the, Choctaws.
Do you have any other questions?
I don't. All right, number 3, discuss, consider, and approve Southeastern Sports Network 2024-2025.
What is that?
Mr. J, you wanna come up?
I'm here.
Let's see, that is going to start on page 8,
The name is,
I believe.
yeah, next, okay.
7 years.
Not sure what order she put things in. The first thing I want you to look at, if it's in there, is the outline of what was delivered last sports season. I think we've done this now for 3 years running. Basically, last season, as far as game viewership goes, the watch times remain very strong, a little over an hour and a half for football. Basketball is split a little bit because you've got men and women, so it drops a little bit there. Average basketball game's only about 2 hours long. And then baseball, softball, viewership numbers dropped a little bit this year, but those two sports struggled a little bit. Things to look at, part of your sponsorship package is the player profiles that we put out. Those go to our social media, they go to y'all's social media. Those have, they perform very well. Did 37 total student athletes last year. Average impression, 776. Average reach, 715. Comments, around 12 per. When it's all said and done, post impressions were at 28,718. One of the other things that you get on this is a banner ad on our website. We have a top banner that is basically shared by our bigger clients. It's a rotating thing. From August 1st of last year till May 31st, which is when I put this together, that banner ad has actually been up all summer long. It's on all year. Clicks through to your website. In that period of time, it produced 32,469 impressions. So from a performance standpoint, everything I think is pretty good. Like I always say, part of this is you're advertising to people that are already coming here. That helps, whether it be by way of athletes, family members, opposing teams, things of such. The other positive thing is everything that we're requesting as far as renewal goes, all the pricing remains the same, so no inflation. I'm sure that'll make some people happy. And that's pretty much it. Nothing's really changing as far as what y'all go. I thought last year we did a really good job of keeping the messaging fresh. Grace and Jeremy did a good job of getting me updates on things that y'all were doing, whether it be concert series or otherwise. So those things worked out, I thought, really well last year.
On these, you're showing us the clicks and all that. Are you showing us, how many people are staying in for the whole game and?
Yeah, that's okay. So for example, the numbers you see out next to those sports, that is the average number per game of unique IP addresses. So for example, because they ebb and flow throughout the year, you're going to have a certain team come to town that might be good, more people watch, but that is just the average per that season. So for example, for football, 4,324 unique IP addresses. As far as set of eyes go, you can have 2 sets of eyes, 3 sets of eyes on that. For example, Old Ice House, they stream the games. You may have 10 people at the bar with the game on. So there's that aspect to it. It's all we can give you is the unique IP addresses.
Sure, it didn't show if they stayed on listening to that the whole game, right?
That's where the average watch time comes in. So the average, and again, that's going to ebb and flow by the IP address, but the averages for like football was 1 hour and 35 minutes.
And the average time of the ball game, football game, how much is that?
Broadcast time, typically about 3.5 hours. Broadcast time on, that's including pregame, postgame. Average for basketball, like I said earlier, about 2 hours for the women, 2 hours for the men. Baseball can be a little bit longer. They've done some stuff, though. They've done like the pros, instituted pitch clock, things like that. So.
And we're really just advertising Discover Durant here?
Basically, so the video ads that are provided are Discover Durant. The live read portion of it kind of goes throughout the year with events that y'all are sponsoring, supporting, whether it be like the concert series, things like that. It's a little more, those things are, and that's one of the reasons why I put it in here. At this point, the video ad hasn't been changed. It can be done, but it hasn't been as of yet. The live read stuff allows us to be way more flexible in the course of promoting what Discover Durant is, what y'all do.
So when you put Discover Durant on there, you got discoverdurant.com, so they can go to the website?
Yeah, like our live reads, things like that, always include that.
You have the phone number too?
Yes, just actually got that because we'll be looking to produce the concert series ads. So we've got that now.
Is that the Discover Durant's phone number or the
Yes.
chamber phone number?
It's the Discover Durant phone number.
Okay.
That was actually done just this morning, so.
Any other questions? Okay. So the approval, so what you're asking for is 11,700. Paid monthly, 1,300, September through May.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did we do this last year?
You've done it for how many years?
I think we've done it 3 years now, I think.
What's that?
Are we still topping out at 10,000?
Well, this isn't a special project or a grant. This is just for advertising. Okay.
Well, I make an approval to approve the Southeastern Sports Network for 2024-25 in the amount of $1,300 a month from September to May.
Okay, I'll second that. Let's vote.
Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Scherer?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Anthony?
Yes.
Chairman Hunt?
Yes.
And I also vote yes.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Jay. All right, next order of business, discuss, consider, or approve $25,000 in promotions budget for fall concert series. Anybody want to talk through that one?
This will be to cover any additional advertising that we have. So anything that's been approved for fall concert series is just to book the bands. So here we're asking for 25,000 promotions, which is already built into the budget, but this will be specifically set aside for fall concert series for banners, posters, rack cards, radio, TV, things like that.
Did you put the lineup in there, Grace?
In the very back.
Yep. It's on page 32. It says tiny in the corner.
52.
52.
52? Okay, let me look again.
Go
this is for the promotion, right?
Yes, this will be for advertising that. So we have the bands, but we need to tell people that we have them.
Total amount we're gonna spend on that is how much?
I can't hear you, sorry.
Total amount we're going to spend
On
on
the
this concert?
150,000,
150,000?
and then at 25 for promotion.
Does it always come out $150,000 or less or more?
You guys chose to raise that to get better bands, so we went higher to get bigger bands.
So is that 150,000
up there
plus
at the bands?
the 25?
25.
You look
Yes.
at
So
those
really it's
bands.
175.
Usually that's a max amount. I think the most that we have spent has been around $15,000, but there are different promotionals that we're looking at this year. Hopefully a better number count on those that are attending as well. So we do have some different promotional items.
I definitely think we need to promote it more.
Yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
we had the bands the last 2 or 3 years, and they were regional bands that brought in people, but they didn't stay overnight. At least you got a couple of good ones that are named people that people will stay overnight on those two. I still watch Dennis, and boy, they're getting some good ones over there too, and over Melissa. You know, having the Beach Boys, and then who they had, Sherman too. So we're picking up some decent people now, so that's good. I don't know of Braxton Smith. Do you know, or Keith?
My kids probably do, but I personally don't.
Do you know Jason Abbott or Josh Abbott?
Again, I've heard of, I couldn't name a song though, but my kids.
I think that's a good lineup. I mean, I know 3 of the 4.
Do you really? What's one you know?
The only one I don't know is Braxton Keith.
I encourage you to go on and just watch their following to see the numbers and everything. And that's basically what Overdrive will do. They try to look at the numbers that they've got, followers, plus they know these bands too.
Usually when you pick up a big name, you gotta pick them up about a year before, because they're already making the schedule.
But Jim, you won't let us approve anything, so we can't do that.
Well, now there's 5 others of us, so.
So I
So
just
you're saying 300,000 next year?
Yes.
I don't think so.
If it makes sense.
Sherman's budget
How
was
many people are
around
gonna bring in?
620 for theirs was around 620 for their
That's true.
names.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
It'd be okay to.
They do, they all.
So just to
Yeah.
clarify,
But
the fall
you can-
concert
you can't-
series
you
will
can't have
officially
them
cost
same
us
location when you start bringing
$175,000.
people in.
Yes.
I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am.
They gotta park
Okay.
10 blocks away to get to that.
I don't know what
So
they're
there are
talking
at least
about
more
anymore.
locations around
That's
here
what I just wanted to
when
make
you
sure
go
of.
to. Even out there, we're used to. You gotta have, when you start getting these guys, it's gonna be overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely some logistic stuff that we have to talk through, but
Are we gonna make a motion on this one?
Okay.
Thank you.
let's do it.
I make a motion to approve the $25,000 promotions budget for fall series, and we can improve every year if we continue to up this, in my opinion.
Agreed. Okay, let's vote. I'll second.
Grace says I have to do this one. Okay, trustee Reed,
Yes.
trustee Scherer,
Yes.
trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
and I will vote yes as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, item number 5, I was informed that it is no longer available to us, the Placer AI. So we can take that off the agenda permanently.
Okay.
So was it too late or what?
We had to wait till we could vote on it. I contacted Kathy, who is with DIA, and she informed me that it was no longer available.
Okay, removed. All right, let's move to number 6, review grant write-up or wrap-ups. So I know we have some information in here. Do we have anybody here that can talk through those?
Okay.
Yeah, let's start with disc golf.
So 6A is the disc golf. They did the Magnolia Open. Mike DeLauro's been in here to talk to you guys about that. In your packet is his wrap-up. And all we need to do is review these. So whenever you're finished with that one, we'll move on to the next.
how many participants were in this?
His wrap-up is on page 10.
So it says, number of attendants, we had 145 players, 389 total guests. Number of Durant Hotel Motel rooms used, 77 at an average of 2.25 nights. So basically 173 nights of hotels.
Is that just a number they took out of the clouds, 77 rooms?
You tell us, you're a hotel owner.
Just one
How
of
many
them.
stayed?
Just one of them.
That's one of them.
Could we have our Parks and Recreation person, could you come up here for a minute?
I think
this
the
one-
chairman has
Is this
to.
still for the Magnolia?
It's still for this not here. I'm just wanting to know, you were in on this, right? So,
I mean, they use my lake.
were you there during the tournament?
I have gone to those tournaments. It's like the lake is packed. I know we had to add 10 more tent sites or 5 more tent sites for them to rent out and stay overnight there. I know all of our RVs spots were full for 1 or 2 nights. So as for everything else, I'm not a part of it.
Sure.
But I know people were at the lake and I know it was full.
Okay, so you were impressed by it?
It always surprised me to have the number of people show up for this
Yeah.
thing, just because I'm not into disc golf. But they do show a lot of impressive numbers. They get a lot of big names coming, what they say is big names coming out.
What's
But
the clientele?
it's-
Disposable income?
I couldn't, because usually they're all wearing personalized uniforms
Okay.
for whoever's sponsoring them or whatever. So I couldn't really tell you how much disposable income they have, but I do know they come in, and they play all day long, 1 or both days. I know next year it's planning on being bigger. Because they had someone from the National League come out and look, and they are possibly getting approval to host a national tournament next year for their Magnolia Festival. So, and they're hoping to make it where Magnolia Fest is 2 weeks long. You'll have 1 weekend of professional athletes and then 1 for amateur night or weekend. So that's the goal from what Mike has said, but
So this is beginning to grow, so you
Yeah.
should look at 300 or 400 participants next year if it goes
That
to
I'm
the national.
if I was to assume, yes, but I could not tell you because I'm not into that.
Hey Grace, can we make sure that in the future when we do grants, that whoever we approve the grant for, they're here to help with the wrap up at some meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can get some real
We thank
details
you
on
for the
what we've,
information.
Yes.
approved. Okay.
They are all invited to be here. They know when they're on the agenda, so.
Or they just don't get the grant if they can't commit to being here for the wrap up.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Any questions on the disc golf?
Yeah.
Okay, Magnolia Festival. Anybody want to?
Rob was supposed to have been here, but I can go ahead and give the report on that. We
Okay.
had a really good Magnolia Festival this year.
So James couldn't show up either? James Dry couldn't show up? either?
No, do you want me to call him? And
Too late now.
ask him that Jim request his presence here?
No, I know where Rob is, he's down at the insurance place. I just thought he went there, so
With that
he-
being said, I think we've pretty much, the average night stay is 2 to 3 nights. We had, as far as we could tell, about a 92% hotel occupancy rate. The other accommodations that were used were bed and breakfast, lake rentals, Choctaw Nation RV Park, all lodging properties in and around Durant. We also sold out at 2 of the hotels in Denison as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to cover here. I mean, for the amount of the award of $10,000 and seeing the traffic that the Magnolia Festival brings in is a no-brainer, so.
We were very fortunate that we did make a profit on the Magnolia Festival. That's our goal. That's the only fundraiser that we have. a year.
So then
So did it
Debbie,
grow more this year than it was last year?
Yes,
Even with the rain?
yes.
yeah, rain impacted
It
one day.
didn't, the rain came at the right time. It didn't impact the crowds at all, and it didn't impact the carnival either, and that's where the majority of the profit comes from, is from the carnival.
Well, I just know that, usually you don't have K10 and KXNW Live wanting to be in on this as much in the previous years.
They've been a
And
partner
both
with
of
us.
them are-
They've been a partner with us for the last 5 years,
Yeah,
Jim.
But I'm telling you, this last year with them wanting to, it was on television at nighttime. And I saw it more this time than I ever have before. And I guess that's free advertising too.
That's a good thing.
You bet.
So for Debbie and you, 92%, I mean, did you see
Mhm.
hotel utilization go up?
I was
Are you sure?
positive.
They didn't come for the concert?
There was not a concert every night of the 30th, 31st, or the 1st of.
It was an improvement, yes.
Okay,
What'd you say?
he said it was good.
It was good. It's an improvement.
Okay, let's move on to 6C, Durant Riding Club.
And I've got to tell you, that's my fault. They asked me if they needed to be here, and I told them not
Well, if it's not a-
necessarily. So we'll make
I-
a note on that.
Yeah, it's not right or wrong. I just think in the future, I think getting more data to understand what grants that we're approving, how did it impact the community, and I think just,
I
more
can
data.
give you a brief on that because we, of course, stay up with it. They're a member of the chamber.
That's
Uh,
good that they show up. If they're getting $10,000.
They were packed out every night. The rain, we were afraid was going to impact them, but it really did not. And they had crowds every night. They continue to improve the arena, which helps them. And the Cowboys that they have, and Cowgirls both, are contenders for the NFR. So they are definitely bringing in the type of participants that the crowds will come to see.
See, I passed by a couple times and I thought I saw less people out there this time than they were last year.
I guess that could have been part of the rain.
Mhm.
That could have been due to some of the rain, but
Sure.
if number in attendance was 5,000, average stay of nights was 3 and 50 hotel rooms.
Sure.
Okay. So nothing there, looked good. All right, let's go to the 6D Cornhole Tournament.
Their grant wrap-up report is on page 19, and I would point out that they are the only one that has not gotten me all their information on time. So I still don't have any copies of their paid invoices or things like that, which aren't included in here. But for any other questions, I do have all of those, but they did not submit all of their invoices yet. They were on vacation and missed the deadline.
So did they count it as a success or
Yes.
did they have enough draw?
They did. They actually had to, I think, double the prize money because they had to switch what weekend they were doing it. They had booked the same weekend as Magnolia Festival, and they moved it to Father's Day.
Mhm.
And they still had a great turnout, but they had to double the prize money to get those players there.
So you
And-
think later on down the line, they'll have a regional or the international or the national tournament here?
I think so. I think they definitely could. This was their championship for their league,
Was this for
which
3 or 4 states or what?
yes, it was the gentleman that came in
Cornhole.
here for Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. There were 4 or 5. I'm not sure which direction they all went, but
But all the contestants were impressed about the benefits they had here? Or?
I hope so. I didn't talk to any of the contestants, so I can't tell you that, but the organizers said it went really well.
Again, I encourage any of the trustees on any of these that we sponsor, if you will just go out and make an appearance, you're going to be surprised. That place was packed. And the setup that they had was really, really very professional. It was amazing what we have that goes on in this community. It really is.
Where did they hold it?
At the Choctaw Event Center in there. You can go to their Facebook page, and I think they
And
still
their
have.
website. They
and
have a
their
lot of photos
website,
on the
yeah.
website as well.
And they still have pictures posted.
900 rooms at average stay of 3 nights. It's a good number.
A lot of them in Choctaw.
A larger portion of those were probably at the Choctaw, but they also, a lot of them are not going to use that price point, or can't use that price point, so it pushes them into the hotel rooms that we have as well.
Okay, let's go. Last one, Durant Sports Festival.
Hi, so I'm with the city. So we had our sports festival, first annual. It ran from June 1st to June 30th. It was a total of 24 events all throughout June, and we had 8,812 people attend. That's almost 4,000 was just participants, and then 4,000 guests. Out of the participants only, I have no numbers on guests. We had 1,700 from out of town. I know at least with disc golf and rugby, probably 600 people stayed in town at least one night. I can't give the actual numbers because there's so many different organizations running leagues. A lot of our big events that we were supposed to have at the beginning of the year, we had to cancel due to rain. It was, the first 2 weeks was kind of rough, but we really, at the end, we started getting speed. Like I said, we ended up only spending 17,000 of it, so we're actually going to give the $7,206.20 back to the Discover Durant Tourism. I don't know who to make the check out to, but we would like it for it to go to the Light Up Durant for. I'll be presenting about that in a little bit. So we roughly spent around $2 per person, and the last big expenses that we did were I'm doing street light banners to go along Main Street and at the complex, and each of the banners has the logo, and then it says Durant Sports Festival, the dates without the year, and it has sponsored by Discover Durant. I'm getting field banners for all my fields at the complex that says proud sponsor of Parks and Rec, Discover Durant. That was one of our bigger expenses that we did, but how I look at it next year when we do this, I'm not going for a full 25,000 because we're changing the layout up, but overall it was a success. We are actually being featured in the October issue of the National Parks and Rec magazine for it. So be sure to mention you guys a couple times in there. Janet was kind enough to offer a little snippet about the festival. It was a busy month for sure.
Now, the first 2 weekends I went out there, and it was a washout.
Yeah,
There was nothing going back.
We
But
couldn't
we're
be-
getting reimbursed for that, right?
We couldn't be on the fields.
I know you couldn't, yes.
We, like I said, we're giving the money that we have, we did not spend back. We were just trying to get the ground running, and you guys were kind enough to give us the 25,000. I'm not trying to make a profit we're just trying to get more people into Durant.
Sure.
And this was a great turnout. We are going to do it again. I already have a couple more people signing up to host different tournaments. We're going to include rodeo, and we're looking at more of the southeastern camps going to happen. So we're not funding all that stuff anymore. We got the foundation, now let's run with it.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
knew from last year, I know he had that rugby in, and it's like he said, when you have rugby in, these people have money, and they'll
Yep.
stay overnight, and, probably go to the casino too.
Those guys,
But when you get in rugby, that's a high-end sport.
Well, Janet can tell you the story. She came out on Saturday and talked to one of the teams that basically were a bunch of college guys that went to college together that played rugby from all over the United States. They came in on Thursday. As Janet will tell you, they brought their own chef. And they had 2 teams entered in the deal. And they came in Thursday and left on Sunday. And what, we've talked about it before, Ryan and I, there's two things you can do really that helps people stay, our goal of staying the night. That is either start the tournament early or start the tournament later and have the games go later. What we did this year, the first time, by the way, we had 29 teams, we started at 10 o'clock rather than 9 o'clock. So in reality, we played both games because the teams were coming from Austin, Houston, Tulsa, Arkansas, Little Rock, Shreveport, all over the place. And they had to come in on Friday night because they were playing the first round at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And then they were also playing later on in the day because we go all the way through the round. Just because you lose doesn't mean you're stopping playing. You're going to play the other losers. And we played until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, which means, hey, let's stay another night. And so that's kind of how you play the game to get people to stay all night. And we did, I think, a really good job this year of doing that.
That's smart. And I'm glad, we've got a man with Parks and Recreation. We've had a couple of them forward, and that place wasn't being used. And, I think the city puts in $500,000 or $600,000 a year just to keep that place up. And things like this will bring in a lot of sales money to the restaurants, to downtown, to the motels. And so what it is, you're picking up a lot of that cost out there and not making it sink into a hole. So we appreciate that too because of all the sales tax money's coming in. So one of these days, you can't ever think it's gonna break even, but if you can get $200,000 or $300,000 worth of sales tax money on things that you happen in the summertime, it's great. And it puts us on the map too, and people will come back to Durant a few more times too, so it's all good.
Well, my goal from the first time I put the tournament on 3 years ago was to get a national event. Right now, we're one of 3 events in a 5 or 6 state area that qualifies you to play in the national tournament. But we want to host that national tournament, which would be 600-700 room nights, each on a Friday and Saturday night.
Sure.
So
That's great.
That's our goal.
Good job.
Again, I thank you guys so much. And again, I encourage you, please go out and watch some of these games. They're amazing. And the people that you get to meet are phenomenal. It was a great experience. I yelled at Jeff twice, and he didn't even know I was there until I told him later.
I
So
don't know how that happened.
he was putting everything he had into it, I promise.
Next year, we're trying to offer more sports that are not seen a lot, just so more people, it broadens the net of how many people participate. We are going to try again for the scuba. We got esports. I have a contact to do primitive bow building that they're going to do. So we're going to have more events. Hopefully, with that comes more people. So we'll go from there.
Okay,
But
thank you.
guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well, it's just, our responsibility for some of us to go out and see what's going on. I mean, this is the money we want to be well spent.
Agreed. All right, let's move into item number 7, discuss, consider, and approve grant applications. So I'm going to preface by saying that I'm just now seeing these grants. Whether that's my fault or not, I want to be able to really understand these grants and review them. So not every grant may get a vote today, but I understand how important it is to vote timely to make sure that you guys have enough time to plan for it. So we'll take that offline, but I do want to go through these grants today just to make sure that I understand what they are. So, and the board, of course. So let's start first with the Southeastern Rodeo. Anybody have any information on that one?
Grace, if you want to come forward.
36.
This grant starts on page 28, and Christy is not here to present. This is a grant that we've done at least 2 years, if not more than that.
More than that, I think.
Actually, I think this was one of the very first ones we have done, or did, wasn't it, Danny?
We've been doing them
I think so.
ever
I think-
since I've been on
yeah.
the board.
I think so. I think it's one of the very first grants that we approved.
Southeastern has it, they bring in anybody from Kansas, New Mexico, and everywhere else. They bring a lot of people in. A lot of cowboys.
So, what is the ask?
$10,000.
Okay. Well, since you guys have, done this every single year, have you guys been happy with it?
I'm happy, I'm ready to make a motion.
Yeah.
I think the rodeo
bring
bring
in
in more people that we actually see sales tax revenue and nights lodging. I think,
They bring them in for 3 or 4
that,
days.
yeah.
But I'll make a motion to fund it.
I'll
They bring
second
some
that.
people overnight too.
Good. We'll vote.
Okay. Trustee Reed,
Yes,
Trustee Scherer,
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Anthony,
Yes.
Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well.
Okay. That one is approved. Let's move to the next one.
and we have somebody here to present that one.
Stephanie's here to present on that if you're ready.
I think Stephanie's here to present that one, aren't you?
Hello, Miss Stephanie.
Hello. So I'm not exactly the Southeastern Foundation. I'm the Executive Director of Alumni Relations and Career Services at Southeastern, but the Alumni Association is the one that hosts most of Tailgate Alley at Southeastern, and we fall as a 501c3 under the Southeastern Foundation. So, what would you like to know?
What is this grant for?
Jim, this is the one
So
that funds,
What are y'all using the money for now?
So Mark Webb is the one that did the grant the last couple of years. He and I started Tailgate in 2012 with the Durant Chamber of Commerce. And so this money is being used to promote for True Blue Chili Cook-Off, which we have 5 home games this season, and so we do Tailgate Alley 3 hours before kickoff every home game to encourage and create a game day experience for the players and their parents and opposing team as well. And then all of our community that are usually a part of sponsorships, whether it's through homecoming, tailgate, etc. So we're using this money to give prize money for the True Blue Barbecue Cook-Off and the Chili Cook-Off, which will happen. One of those is September 21st. That's True Blue Barbecue, and then November 9th will be the True Blue Chili Cook-Off. So it'll give hopefully bigger prize money this year. I think last year they gave $1,500 to be divided between first, second, and third place. This year we'd like to do $2,500 because we had quite a few more competitors. Food and beverage, supplies, entertainment, sponsorship banners, promotional items, that's what the money will be used for.
So what was your prize money for the barbecue cook-off in your football, Southeastern football?
Last year,
Yes.
they did $1,500 and then they split it between first, second, and third place.
Okay. I know when we first came up with this, and I was the one that came up with it, I wanted it to be around, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 that you put in on this, because you put in $1,500, nobody's coming from Dallas-Fort Worth. I know they're having one over in Ardmore, but they're advertising right now. And you start.
Jim, if you'll look at page 42, their budget is on there,
Yeah,
and that prize money has been increased to $5,000.
it needs to be, because what it is, if you don't get it at Pine Ave,
Right.
you're just gonna get people around here and
Right.
anywhere.
Correct.
But that's the best thing to do. That's what we started out with, 2 or 3 years ago, and that was one of the main things, especially at homecoming.
I think that's great because it gets more of our out-of-state folks here on our campus and therefore tailgate and to go to the ball game.
Now, I don't know how much they're having the prize money over in Ardmore. I don't know if it's 10,000, 20,000, or whatever,
I
but
don't
they're
either.
bringing a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hmm?
Any other questions? Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Southeastern Foundation for the award money for barbecue and the chili cook-off.
Okay. I'll second that.
need to ask one more question, though.
Sure.
How many hotel rooms do you think comes out of this?
So the wrap-up from last year showed that we had about 88% occupancy in the hotels for Friday and Saturday night. Obviously, there's gonna be some that are bigger. Our first home game is on a Thursday evening, so that's usually doesn't count in that unless it comes on a Saturday. But like homecoming, I mean, we'll have 3,000 in attendance easily for homecoming, and then these cook-offs also bring a bigger attendance.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Trustee Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Sheriff?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? Vice Chairman Anthony?
Yes.
Chairman Hunt?
Yes.
And I will vote yes on that one as well.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thanks,
Yes.
Tiffany.
All right, number 8. Let's talk about Light Up Durant.
Hello again. So I'm here for Light Up Durant. It's a collaboration with the city, Chamber of Commerce, Main Street, and Southeastern. We are trying to, our goal is to make Durant a community that people visit during the holidays. Through Light Up Durant, we are hoping to get some people to come in and we have a plan to, this will take 4 or 5 years. But our first step is building a strong foundation, just like what I'm doing with the sports festival. This is the first step. We are looking at getting funds for the Southeastern Loop of Lights and Main Street. Those are our focuses this year on our first phase. We're having a good foundation for this is key. And from experience of doing these light shows and all that, if you start out small, but not too small, usually you can build up from it. So with starting at Southeastern and Main Street, from our first phase, our second phase would be making a drive-through light show at the complex. Since the Southeastern already has its loop, I don't want to start something new until that's completely done. And then we won't even start that phase until Main Street and the loop of lights is completely to the point that it's done. It's bringing people in. With the plan is for phase 1, is for Main Street. The goal is to make sure that it's festive, but without overshadowing the businesses in town by adding fixtures or on the corners, by helping to finish the decoration of all the buildings, wrapping the trees, decorating Market Square, getting to where people are coming into town. And like I said, if we already have some buildings already lit up, we're going to use those, but it's just to finish out and getting more of the fixtures to go instead of what we currently have, like 6 or 7 fixtures, getting more to actually have a photo op kind of esque to it.
John, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
How far down Main Street will that go?
We're looking at, right now just in the downtown area, because once you get past downtown, everything gets so sparse and far away that you can't really tell it's part of the theme. The light pole fixtures, that will go as far as we can. But as for the lighting up and really decorating, that will be just in the downtown area because that's where all the mom and pop shops are. That's where we're trying to get people to go into. So getting that going. The Loop of Lights, like I said, they already do a light show. It currently has about 10,000 lights. We're looking at improving them, getting the automated fixtures. Those things are a pretty penny. They start out at $500, but that is looking at a 4-foot tall thing of presence that does nothing special. It's just a framework with lights on it. To the most I saw was $150,000, and that is it was like 12 by 20 or 50 foot. It's a massive deal. We're not wanting to go that big because we don't have that much room, but getting those fixtures into the area, getting lights to go all the way around. President Newsom's plan is to make that loop into a walking trail. So getting where it's a picturesque walk through, getting the lights to add up to it, it would be a great deal. So like I said, the funding, we're looking at doing the fixtures for the Lupo lights, getting the three-dimensional displays to go on the street corners, banners, and the street lights. This year was the first year that I've been trying to get Main Street lit up for a while, but this is the first year I've seen a company actually do solar-powered light fixtures, because our poles are not equipped to power both. So we're looking into getting some of those. And to help this, we are hosting a weekend celebration. We're small town Christmas weekend. It'll be December 6th and 7th. We'll have 3 carriage rides, or 3 carriages for rides in the evenings for 2 days. That is going to coincide with our City of Durant tree lighting ceremony. It will start out at Market Square, work your way up down Evergreen, up to the Southeastern Loop, and then you go all the way back down to Main Street. You have to go through Main Street to see all the lights, see all the shops while you're wrapping up, because then you see, okay, what's the next step is go to these shops that are currently open. They're going to have pop-up pop-up gift shop booths, hot cocoa, mulled wine, and cookie contests all at Market Square, and live music and games. So we're trying to build something, and again, you can't go too big, or you can't go too big, or otherwise it just implodes on itself. And phase 2, like I said, complex drive-through deal. It's still in the planning phase of figuring out how everything would work, but with this, for the economic impact, we can't, as the first thing being organized, we can't really say. But knowing from comparison of other places around, Ardmore, Broken Arrow, they have 500,000 visitors throughout their drive-through. Grayson County Festival of Lights has 6 million visitors that come through. Chickasaw Festival of Lights has 2,500,000 visitors come through. I know I did a light show that had 40,000 lights in Perkins. Perkins was a town of 1,500 people. We had 100 cars show up every day. And that was to watch the automated light show, to walk around, and then they went out and they was right next to McDonald's. They went there, they went out to eat. And so getting something like this, getting a plan set up so we can build and continue this project is our goal. It's all about getting people into Durant. We're asking for $25,000 and to go from there.
Is the total budget, the $500,000 total budget, is that year over year, or is that just this year only?
That is like long game. It's not just this year. We're also doing fundraising on our own for Light Up, with sponsorships for the automated deals, as the banners, possibly getting those sponsored. We're looking at other avenues to get raising funds as well, but we're really just trying to get this ball rolling.
What do you think the total budget is for this year?
Great question.
As much as we can collect fundraising wise. And I'd also, if Terry could come up and tell a little bit about what is planned for the Southeastern Loop on that 6th and 7th.
Now you're wanting, how much do you want, how much are you wanting from this group?
25,000.
Yeah, the Southeastern Loop, we're trying to create activities and stuff there. We're planning on having a Christmas shopping thing in the ballroom. We'll have booths set up there. Want to have activities for kids. Of course, use it as a recruiting tool for folks that might want to come up and take a tour at Southeastern. So different activities, probably have Santa Claus there and some buildings to go through. Planning on having a big map. If you get to Southeastern, here's what you can do. The idea is to get on to load on the horse and carriage ride at Southeastern, and then they'll go around to the downtown market and get off and do shopping and stuff there, and then come back to campus and do activities there. So it's basically a citywide thing. We have stuff going everywhere for them to do. We also have Holiday Follies, which is our big Christmas show with the Sparks and the Corvettes over at the VPAC those 2 nights. So that'll draw in a bunch of people. They could join in on all this as well. So.
I like it. I think we need
this
it.
will mostly be for the people in Bryan County, right? Coming to Durant.
Not necessarily, because these kind of events, it brings in families from all over. As long as we can get ahead of the for advertising, getting our information out there, I know there's websites that you can put where light shows are and get people in. So it's not just Bryan County. I mean, the majority of people will be Bryan, Grayson, all the counties around us. But if we start reaching out, I know a lot of people do travel long distances to see these things as a family get together.
Brian, again, how many were in attendance at Grayson County last year?
Grayson County last year had, let me go.
I think you
Grayson County had 6 million visitors.
Okay.
That's what was listed on their
Do
information.
you have any more sponsors for this?
We haven't started the sponsor.
We do have sponsors
we do.
already.
I haven't been informed of we had sponsors until this moment.
Well, look at Chickasha. Everybody drives from Durant to Chickasha, so we can bring it from
Okay.
Oklahoma City.
Right now, Durant people drive down to Grayson or to
Every
Tennessee
year.
and Sherman.
Mhm.
They go to Ardmore. Getting them to stay here or getting those people to come here, because it's one of those things that you go multiple times during the year. I know, like I said, in Perkins, I had 100 cars drive through, which in number-wise, that's not a whole lot, but when you're a town of 1,500, that's a big
That's a
number.
lot.
So just knowing, and that took 3 years for me to really build up. This year, we're hoping to get, I think I said 3,100 cars with at least 2 people in the car, but it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
So we're going off of what numbers I had in Perkins, because I know people actually do come. They go multiple times, they take their kids out and go from
Now,
there.
you mentioned Grayson and she mentioned Chickasha and you said Ardmore. On those other places, and it's sponsored by the city of Ardmore, city of of Sherman. It's not sponsored just by donations. Who sponsors that and went over in Grayson County? Is it the city?
That's funded by the city. I know what that's funded
I
by.
think most of them, what we're talking about is the city, whether Chickasha or Ardmore or Grayson County. I know for pretty well, I would think that with them doing that over Grayson County, it'd have to be the city putting up the money.
Brian, who's going to be responsible for putting the decor up that we talked about?
The Parks Department.
And on the southeastern lawn, it will
We have
be,
people that'll do it there.
okay. Then the downtown, I believe in past, that has steppings in the back. I believe that has also been paid for. Someone is hired to do that, correct? Okay, that's what I thought. Jim, the last time that there was anything done at this scale was 18 years ago. And I know that because it was the year that I came. And Charlie Calhoun was the one that had put the fundraising together. And that's the last time that there has been any community effort, especially for the downtown area and what Ryan is trying to create. I apologize. Allergies, that's
No.
right, and they will not go away. But with that being said, that was the last time there was any type of group effort that was made to do this. And if I'm not mistaken, those banners are going to be purchased out of different funding. Is that correct?
Yeah.
No. Okay, that's what I thought,
So you
Ryan.
said you have some more sponsors. Are you going to go around, or somebody's going around to ask the businesses of this city for sponsorship for these lots? And the other question, since downtown, and they are a big thing for the city, but is the downtown merchants have been put money in on these lots? I'm just talking about who else is.
Right now, the
And if you're
the
getting-
commitments that we've got are from large companies.
Yeah, and if you're getting a sponsor, what are we talking about? $5,000 when we're putting up $25,000?
$5,000 is maybe going to purchase one of the,
Big,
that
bigger
he's
items.
talking about.
And do you
So-
think the city will put up another matches for 25,000?
I don't know if the city will match that. That's,
Are
I'm
you-
not a
Danny,
part
Are you
of.
going to ask the city to at least match it?
Just say yes, Danny.
I have not planned to ask the
Why,
city
he's
to
a
match
city
because
councilman. We just say
I think
yes.
you need to ask the city.
Ultimately, we all understand that Durant needs something like this, right?
Absolutely.
We can sit and talk, who's gonna give money, who's not. Ultimately, to do it right, we're gonna need funding. And I would love to see, as we talk through,
We need
if this
city
is a
help.
4 or 5 year project, I would love to ask you guys to come back and let's actually see years, 2, 3, and 4, just so we can see the progression. Understanding we have to see how this year goes, but
Yeah, and like how I did it in Perkins was I got the initial money to get me started, and then I went out and got sponsors. Pretty much those sponsors for this year was really funding for the following year to improve on it. Because starting even now, it's not guaranteed of how many sponsors you'll get. More people start to donate more in the winter time when it gets closer to, but you're building for each year and getting
Did you
that
have
kind
any
of stuff.
sponsors last year
this is
For,
for these lots?
This will be the first year.
yeah, this is the first year that we've
Okay.
done.
So-
so we're on ground level.
The 25,000,
Well, I know.
the
That's
additional
last time here,
8,000 that
but
you were
I
going to
probably pay for
return,
those too.
do we need to add that to this 25,000?
I wasn't here
That's
last
up to
year.
you guys to decide, I
Okay.
believe.
I
So-
think we should.
So when?
Here's my whole opinion on this. Ryan has been a fantastic steward of our money to this point. Technically
So-
y'all's money, but I don't know why we wouldn't trust him to do what he says he's gonna do and give him funding this year.
I trust Terry
So
too.
you think
We're on
maybe
it.
the city of Durant
And
would be,
Stephanie.
interested in doing that? If we could get Danny to get up and say something for the city council?
Again, I can't speak for what the city will do.
My
I'd say
personal
we should,
favorite.
say we should put it in front of them.
I could put it in front of them, but I can't say what they will do.
If
Okay.
you put it in front of them, with the chairman speaking, sort of help it along a little bit?
Maybe?
There you go.
There we go. It's a plan.
Okay,
I think I'm good with this one. I think we should do it.
I think so too.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna count you as a first,
Sure.
who's the second?
Okay, who's the second? Are we gonna add that into the verbatim?
I think we have to do that under new business, wouldn't we
Okay.
have to?
Well, that's my
Return of the money
question,
to return back to this.
You
It
always
will have
ask
to
me
be
a lot of
done.
questions.
It will have to be done.
I'm prepared for you.
I just
It
wanna
would
make
have to be
sure,
done.
that's all.
Thorough.
Hey, Ryan,
Yes, ma'am.
the $8,000, we'd actually have to vote on that next time, cause we'd have to have a special agenda item.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't either, till just now, but we can put it on there for
Okay.
next time.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
vote, are y'all ready? Reed,
Abstain.
Cher,
Yes.
Thorpe,
Yes.
Anthony,
Yes,
Hunt,
Yes.
and I will vote yes as well.
gotta start somewhere, haven't I?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
All right,
We're
thanks, guys.
excited.
All right, last but not least, let's move into the Durant Westside Merchant Association.
Good afternoon. My name's Madison Williams, and I serve as the Executive Director for the West Durant Merchants Association. And today we're here to talk about a West Side Christmas, which will be December 13th and 14th. Before we begin this afternoon, I just first and foremost wanted to say thank you for your time and service to the Tourism Authority. Public service is hard work, and I know you don't take this task lightly, but our community thanks you for your public service. In front of you today is an ask for a one-time funding opportunity for $35,000 for a West Side Christmas and some Christmas light installation. Our proposal is made up of two parts: a cloverleaf Christmas light install right there across from McDonald's on both sides of the on-off ramp, and an artificial ice events inflatables at a West Side Christmas. What a better way to say welcome to Durant than Christmas lights that are at the main entrance of our city. We expect the light install to be around $15,000. to wrap those trees, build some metal Christmas tree structures to put in at those clover leaves. And our proposal for the 3 out-of-this-world inflatables that are only used at 3 locations in the state of Oklahoma to be at $29,000. Last year, with our artificial ice rink, Santa's reindeer, and an amazing community of sponsors and volunteers, we were able to share the Westside Christmas spirit with 3,000 people in 14 hours. We hope that with your funding and support, we will increase our numbers to 5,000 attendees plus. We also know that our event takes place in the heart of Hotel Central. We know that with partnerships with local hotels, we can keep our tourists in Durant by giving them a fun event for the weekend. Our event last year wouldn't have been possible and been able to launch without the $10,000 the authority generously provided. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So this will last for 2 days then?
Yes. December 13th and 14th, we'll kick off
Is
that.
there electricity on that east side?
For power?
Yes,
We are in conversations with the city and OG&E about that.
but there's none at this time.
There is power. We're just in conversation about how to make that happen, about switching.
But there is no power at this time.
Based on the conversations we've had with the city, there is power. And we've
Oh.
been in conversations with them since March.
Okay.
How do we verify?
Well,
Verified.
I'm not sure, but we presented that question when we were looking at putting up digital signage there on both sides, the east and the west side. And they told us that there was no electricity.
Yeah, 'cause when we were trying to get all the landscaping stuff done through
Yeah.
the city,
Yeah.
You talking about on the east and west side of
on the
the
Cloverleaf.
loop?
I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but we can continue that conversation with Philip.
Well,
about
Ryan,
that.
is there electricity?
I think
There seems to be
I
a
know
box
there-
on both sides. I've
The
watched it.
west side has power that is able to go. I don't know how many outlets or anything like that, but there is there. On the east side, there is a terminal there, but there's nothing, no outlet for anything to go into. We would have to install that stuff.
There used to be power.
Yeah, because
I mean,
Yeah.
power's
Yeah.
ran to it.
And that's what we argued before,
Yeah,
is
'cause
that there
Charlie
used to
had
be,
sailboats
yeah.
Where people would. where
'Cause Charlie and Jim both.
Sailboat.
We can't find that stuff anymore.
You can't
Can't
find it.
find it?
Apparently not.
You need an electrician to go out there. He's
We
gotta be
have an
there.
electrician that went out there and he couldn't find where.
But there used to be a
the-
sailboat,
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
been
both lined up
over
on both
years.
sides.
Yeah.
So there's gotta be
Ground has
electricity
gotten
out there.
up and
But
it
that's what they-
buried it, so we'd have to-
Don't y'all remember when we
Yeah,
discussed
'cause
the
Charlie was saying
the
that too. He
digital
remembered
signs,
there
and
was-
Charlie was the one that was adamant
He can
that
be
there
found.
was
They
electricity.
could.
And they said no.
If that wiring's down there, it
Put
didn't go
some out
away,
there,
'cause
dig
it's
it
gotta
up,
be
dig it,
underground
you'll
wiring
hit it,
anyhow to
you'll
start
drag
off
it
with.
up.
And
But
that
that
stuff
is
don't
where we
die.
I
wanted
don't
the
know,
digital
because I'm not an
signs
electrician.
And that's why.
Sure
they-
did.
You'll pull
On
it up.
both sides.
Well,
If you find the
Yes, sir.
sailboats, go back and find sailboats, you
I
can
guess
find
you
them.
guys-
And then I guess this may be a Ryan question too, and you may not have the answer. ODOT is going to do a complete renovation of both of the overpasses that we have, one on Arkansas and one on Main. If there is electricity that we're putting in and it's going to be undone with their construction,
That
I don't,
no idea about that.
no idea.
I know I mow it.
it's on their
mow
plan.
it.
I mean, I know, but
It's
we
on
had
their
been told it
plan.
wasn't until
You can find it on their
2025.
website.
Right, but we had been told it wasn't until 2025 that those overpasses.
Ryan, you're not over the website, you're not over the west side drive, or, you're not over that loop, are you? That's huh? Are you? Oh, that's
Haven't
not
you
part of the
noticed how
Department of,
nicely it's
we're
been
what's going to take
maintained?
care of
So we own that now, right, city?
We don't own that.
We don't.
It's ODOT property.
Okay.
But ODOT doesn't mow their stuff. We used to contract it out. I asked the city to allow me to hire 2 more mowers just to mow all of the bypasses and the highways around. So
You're still using the equipment that we bought for you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I'm
want-
not letting them live
it's
there
just not only being used there.
Sure.
it's
Well,
being
you got,
used everywhere.
you got the truck and you got the trailer and you got,
Yeah, we're still.
You get
looking
your
at all.
phone.
I appreciate you
Just
keeping
reach
it up and not letting it go just because we're not funding
I
anymore.
think you may want to.
Because it's gotta look nice when people come in.
Mr. Chairman, did you have a question of me?
Ryan will never come back to another meeting.
Poor Brian, he always gets this.
So would
tries
the,
so hard.
so would ODOT then, Ryan, have to give permission to utilize that property?
I can't say for sure. I know, like, I know I heard with John Dean when they were putting the feathers, they had to get ODOT permission to put that there. As for temporary fixtures, I can't answer that. That's ODOT.
Actually, I think we got ODOT permission after the fact.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wasn't
That's
in
the way we
those
do things around here.
conversations, so.
That's the, what, there we go.
So
So
sounds
it's
like the
easier to
questions-
So you
ask
can
for
find out
forgiveness
everything.
instead of permission?
Yeah, so.
Madison,
let's-
did you say you've already been in contact with ODOT and that's something you're working on now?
We have a great relationship with ODOT. I haven't been in contact with them about the Christmas light installation specifically, but on a couple other projects, we've been working with them.
Updates on a couple of things. So one, I think if you can work on, and we can schedule a special session, ODOT, do we need approval? Is there electricity there? If not, what's it going to cost to put that electricity there? Does that then investment, is it worth, if it gets
Going
taken
back
out
in.
next year? I think those are questions that we probably need to ask and get some answers on before
Yeah.
we completely say yes to this one. And I think I'm okay with calling a special session just to talk through this grant application.
And I think there's electricity out there. When and I've dealt with this before as a businessman, when you put underground wire, it'll last 20, 30, 50 years because they make that wire to do that. There's wiring out there on both sides, and they used to use it for those sailboats. You remember that? Way before you got
I
here.
don't remember it ever being used on the west side, but it was.
Well, and that's the concern, is that we had an electrician out there
Sure.
and they weren't able to find it. So there's just some uncertainties that I think we need to get through, and then we can have all the,
I love the ideas, but.
yeah,
I can
absolutely.
find it with a
And
mini excavator.
So what if there is only electricity on one side? Can you maneuver what you're doing around that?
Absolutely. I mean, that just means more trees that we can wrap, and then we're looking at probably like a 20-foot Christmas tree structure. They'll be built out of metal, wrap those with Christmas lights, and put those in as a welcome
So you've
to
got a plan
Durant.
B.
Man,
Or we can do the, if we want to take the east side off the table, up at the next overpass where the Welcome to Durant sign is, like if you're at Freddy's, that exit, University, we could look at decorating that as well, so that way it could be both sides of the road. If you take the east side off, happy to have that conversation as well.
are you going to, or have you, are you going to ask the city for any funding?
We haven't yet, but we can. We just have talked to them about the use of power and using those
think you
trees.
should.
Okay.
Bigger the
She
better.
could always go up and ask them again. You've already been on this conversation. She can ask them about if they can go get a couple more people and find that power out there, because there is power. But that way, if she brings that up on city council, you already have insight on it.
I think we should ask the city for some funding too,
Okay.
because sales tax generator.
Okay.
Anytime you can like that, when you're coming down, that's Highway 6970, he's been keeping it mowed. We put over probably, what, $100,000 in on all the equipment?
Over 100,000.
100,000? And you've been doing a good job, and what it is, there for a while, that grass was up this high before he started taking part of that. And then look, when you come off the road to Durant, Oklahoma, I asked some of the people, some of the main people that have these working for the corporations and managers, I said, would you stay here if you saw grass up there that high and people in the middle of the bypass on the ground, and they had homeless people there? People won't even come in, but lighting that thing up and making it look nice will be a lot better. The other thing I've got to say is that a lot of people come in here and they ask for a grant, and you ask them how much they have, and they're asking for a $10,000 grant, and they'll do good to have $1,000. Well, that's not saying much, but if this, you're looking at this and it's going to cost you $78,000, you got double the money. what you're asking for, so, but I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, let's get our questions answered, and then if you will, I guess, reach back out to, probably Grace? You okay with that? Or me? And then we can.
And you'll go before.
We'll do a
city council?
special.
I can see if we can get on the city council agenda. Absolutely. Do y'all have any questions about the artificial ice event portion?
I saw some of it last year, and it was very efficient. I passed by every night going home, and I didn't know what y'all were gonna do, but, and this is amazing on the traffic part, because most people, when they do that, they don't have any idea what they're doing. And you had an excellent entrance there, and you had two guys, and so I tried to pull in, they stopped me real fast, but I was just checking to see what was going on. But they were efficient, and I'm telling you, y'all ran it good.
Thank you.
Is it the exact same size, everything this year's exact same?
The ice rink, we went up a size to accommodate more. Last year, one of our most popular events was ice skating with Anna and Elsa and Spider-Man. We've added Santa's reindeer for a second night. If anybody wants to go into the reindeer business, they're $6,000 for 6 hours.
So how much is reindeer?
They're $27.50 a night plus travel for 3 hours. But part of this proposal includes a company we found that's a nationwide company that's called Artificial Ice Events, and they have an inflatable snow globe that takes 100 pictures an hour and holds 6 people in it. Snowzilla Jr. is a big inflatable slide that you walk up to the top, you go in a snow tube and it sends you down, and then Toboggan Tunnel runs, I believe that says 150 people through per hour, so we can add some inflatables outside in addition to the movie, food vendors, things like that.
Does it cost children or anything to go in there?
There'll be an armband cost, but that'll get you access to everything. Last year, that armband cost was $10 for all activities. We had a church that was generous and sponsored every kid to have a free Christmas activity, and then Asian Gourmet did a free toy for every kid that came through at Christmas.
Well, very awesome.
Do you have any capital revenue to back this?
For what's in our bank account?
Or what you made last year?
What we made last year, we brought in $45,000 in sponsorships last year, and so the event was paid for before the event began. And so we're able
And was that the $10,000 grant? Was that included in it?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then this past year, we hosted a West Side Drive-In where we showed Twister in April, that we had over 300 attendees and 108 cars. We have someone that sits there and counts each car as they come in. And then in October, we will be showing Harry Potter at the drive-in.
Well, that'll be good, because if you had 45,000 and you get another one of these grants, at least you come out of it and you're at least breaking even, and you're doing it for the community.
Absolutely.
Christmas time.
Okay.
So we'll get these questions answered and hopefully be back in about a week.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
and then we can schedule a special session to go specifically through that one.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, informational items, number 9, Discover Durant Activity Report.
We've already went over the Fall Concert Series flyer, again, which is on page 52. Then following that, we have a invitation, save the date for Legacy Plaza. This is what we sponsored, $60,000 last year to go into Legacy Plaza for a statue. This is invitation inviting you guys to come out to that, which is Friday, October 4th at 1:30. We have a plaque on the wall. If you haven't seen it already, you should definitely go look at it. Following that, on page 54 is our Facebook. None of this includes the Fall Concert Series advertising yet, so I'm expecting these numbers to go up quickly. And then News 9 sent us a follow-up on the $2,000 advertising that we did a couple months ago. They did 75,000 impressions, ended up with 78,752 with a 91 times click-through rate to the website. Our click-through rate was 0.12 and the national average is between 0.06 and 0.08. So that is them telling us that our advertising worked. So that's good to hear, because we always question how many people are actually looking at those. Then followed by that on page 56 is a concert lineup for Choctaw.
Pitbull this weekend.
I know.
On the news 9 on the Oklahoma Outdoors, has anybody seen any of that?
I don't get headlines.
Yeah?
Nope,
We can't get it?
unless you stream it. That's not for us. That's for those visitors that are sitting in
It needs to
Tulsa.
be for us too. I mean, so as far as our hits on our website, it's going up every year, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
The other thing I hadn't looked at it lately, I did a while back. Are we keeping our current, our events current? I know when
Yes.
we first get on the thing, we used to have everything else on that. Now, I asked about a year or two ago, and so what we do, as soon as you get on that website, it shows all the events, because that's what people are looking at. When they get it out on the road and see that discoverydurant.com, that's what they're gonna go for. They're not gonna stay on that thing 2 or 3 pages deep, but it takes all the current events and puts it on there, right?
I take all the current events and put them on there, yes. It's not automatic. They are up to date, and we usually have at least 25 at a time. When the big events, the Valentine's Day, Halloween, things like that, the list is long and goes on and on. Right now, summer things are kind of slow, so there's not as many. But every time I see an event online on Facebook, people email me these events, and I put them on there.
Are we updating it every month, or
Every day, multiple
Yeah.
times a day.
is that?
When do we need to look at doing fresh videos?
We just got one that wasn't, we just finished the outdoor commercial for summer. So if we want any fall or Christmas, we need to be discussing that.
So when you get them done, you bring it to us and put it on the screen?
Danny, I think one of the things, hopefully that we can discuss at next meeting, is doing drone video as well, especially the concert series. And I'm hoping that we might not have enough left in that budget that we can do that with. Because the drone footage is so much easier to use when you're converting it to a commercial. And it also gives you a really good feel about the numbers. Instead of saying, this is what you've got, you can actually physically see the crowds.
I agree with that.
So we're advertising these concerts starting, you've already got them online.
I'm ready to go as soon as that number was approved. I can hit send and they'll start going out.
Good. Okay. Report from the Choctaw Nation Tourism. Anything there?
That's listed on the back, it's just there.
Okay.
Okay, concert trip.
All right then, let's move on to old business.
The wrap-up grants, we do need to do a vote on that those are sent out. Maybe a suggestion that those are sent out prior to a week before they are actually to be approved.
Okay.
And that would be changing the structure on that, the 30-day limit, if we're going to.
That's all I would mention. They're due 30 days after the event, so if you want it 10 days before the next meeting, it's gonna fall behind a little bit more. It might take 2 meetings to get what happened last month.
I'm okay with that.
I know we brought it up before, but it's in the proposition, and I know the hotels are playing their part. We brought it up on the bed and breakfasts too, and nothing's been followed up on.
Yes, it has been followed up on,
Has it?
and we're still in the process of trying to find someone that keeps those separated. The tax commission, and you are more than welcome to call and ask, but the tax commission cannot give a clarification on if that tax is coming from any of the lodging facilities other than the hotel reports that they've got. That is a corporation.
Do we have some bed and
structure.
breakfasts in Durant, Oklahoma?
We do.
How many?
I would guesstimate, because there's not a registry, but I would guesstimate up to 25 to 50.
Yeah, there's more than
How
I
about
thought.
Yeah.
Airbnbs?
It's same thing,
Yeah.
same thing with those. Now, if they are registered through a registered and licensed, like Airbnb, those taxes are paid. Because they are paid, because the company collects those and sends those in.
But they don't add the other 5% on there for tourism tax, right?
Yes,
Some of
they
these
do.
bed and breakfasts?
Okay, I'm not understanding what you're
It's just
saying.
like a regular tax. We're taxed 5% on top of our tax, so we're up to about 20%.
They're taxed the very same way that any
lodging
lodging property would be taxed.
Anybody that went through Airbnb, VRBO, or any of those.
If it's registered,
That company's required to pay the taxes.
sales tax? Or you just?
Sales tax, we pay about 20% before you get in here, because what it is, we pay all the 10.5%, or maybe 17%. And then we pay 5% tax, we take 5% tax on top of sales tax that you have in Durant.
Okay, so there's sales tax on room.
Yes, there's an extra 5% on top of it.
Oh, for
You got the sales
tourism,
tax.
yes,
And the same thing is on the bread and breakfasts. That's what should be done now, the ones that's inside the city of Durant. That's the proposition we voted for. It's in there. Have you looked at the proposition?
Sure.
I didn't know if you paid sales tax.
But I think the question was,
Pay it all.
are all the B&Bs paying, right? Janet says they're working on that.
we are trying to find a way that we can verify that, Matt, so.
Jan,
Okay.
I am an Airbnb owner in Durant, and so if I don't mind, I'll tell you what it holds out. So like, for example,
And you are registered with,
mine is all through Airbnb.
okay,
So
that's,
like,
yeah.
we charge the people $2.99 for one night, it added my $55 cleaning fee, which goes to me. It charges them a $50 guest service fee, and then it charges them $33.19 as occupancy taxes.
And those taxes, now what was the total amount on that, Angie?
Well, it's $2.99, and then the $55 cleaning fee, $49.98 guest service fee, and I believe that the guest service fee goes to Airbnb, and then an occupancy tax of $33.19.
And the reason I know that those taxes are paid, because we have actually had those entities mail checks directly to us, thinking that they had to send them. And we have to go back through tracing it down, telling them that they have to report it to the state, not to the county. And so I know, that's how I know that those are being withheld from any of those companies that are registered.
Okay.
Motion.
All right, any new business?
Yes. I really think that we are going to have to look at the special projects grants. And we have got to do an analysis of what we have put aside for grants, because that is actually coming out of that budget. And we either have to look at increasing it or deciding on how we want to move forward with it. $300,000 does not go that far. And I think we have to be realistic about the best way to do that. If that means not doing grants, then we'll have to look at that. But we have got to look at the future of this until, as Jim stated at the very first, when we were going through the financials, that occupancy tax is up. And it's not right now. So there's a lot of different things that are going to affect the budget that we have currently got in.
Do we just add that to the next agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Any other new business?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
One moment. Grace said I have to do it a certain way now. Okay, Trustee Reed,
Yes.
Trustee Sher,
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Anthony,
Yes.
Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
and I will vote yes as well.
All right, thanks for being here today. Sorry it took so long. That was a long one.